Alright guys, welcome back to another Shrine video for today. And today I have an interesting selection of perks. We have 3 bad perks and 1 perk that I really enjoy using because it's fun. So let's get right into it. First off for today we have Boil Over. This is a perk from Kate Denson. And what this perk does is it amplifies how much you move the killer around while you're wiggling on their shoulder. This will make it a lot more difficult for them in certain situations to try and get to a hook because they might end up running into objects along the way. And on top of that, it also obscures hook auras for the killer within a certain radius, meaning that it's going to be harder for them to find hooks that are right next to them, and they might have to go to a hook that's further away, which might let you wiggle off thanks to Boil Over, making it more difficult for them to hook you. I think this perk has a very niche use, and that's in Sabo squad build, where essentially you bring in a 4-man and you're trying to just make it so that the killer can't hook people. Boil Over definitely has its place in that kind of build, but I still think it's not really that great a perk. And I see a lot of people using it, in all honesty, not a lot, but more than I would expect, and I just don't think it's worth the perk slot in my opinion. Next up we have Buckle Up. This is a perk from Ash J. Williams, and essentially what this perk does is it lets you see how recovered a survivor is based on their aura up to 48 meters away. I'm gonna be honest, I've literally never seen somebody using this perk unless they're going for Adept Ash, and I don't even know what color their aura starts getting whenever they're getting closer to being fully pick upable. Like, this perk is not good at all. It also has a secondary effect where whenever you heal a survivor who is down to injured, you and the survivor can see the killer's aura for 4 seconds. Again, this is not worth the perk slot. I would never buy this. It's, as I said, I've never even seen anybody run it unless they're going for Adept Ash, and even then, I've never seen the actual use out of it. So let's get into our next perk. I know I usually go to the bottom one next, but I'm gonna be going over to Iron Maiden because Iron Maiden is a perk from the Legion. And what this perk does is it allows you to open a locker significantly faster, and it makes it so whenever somebody jumps out of a locker for whatever reason, whether they're slowly getting into the locker, whether they're getting out of it with head on, whatever it may be, Iron Maiden makes it so that that person will receive the exposed status effect for 15 seconds, and you'll see their aura for 4 seconds as well. Or sorry, they'll scream, and you'll see where they screamed for 4 seconds. So essentially, when they get out of a locker, they'll be one shot for a little bit longer. This perk honestly only really sees use on killers that force people into lockers or killers that regularly are opening lockers. So a killer that is going to regularly open a locker might be a huntress trying to reload over and over again, right? And a killer that might force someone into a locker is someone like Leatherface or Hillbilly or Nurse, where you can actually dodge hits from them guaranteed by jumping in a locker. All around though, this perk is not very good. I would only ever run it on Huntress, and even then I don't run it on Huntress ever because it's just not worth it in my opinion. And for our last perk today we have Hex Devour Hope. Now I'm sure most of you know what this perk does already because I run it a lot, but this is probably one of the more fun perks in the game in my opinion. Essentially what this does is it creates a Hex Totem, and as long as that Hex Totem is up, whenever somebody gets unhooked when you're 24 meters away, Devour Hope will give you 1 token. Now at 2 tokens, you'll gain a haste status effect for 10 seconds after hooking a survivor, although this is actually bugged right now, so you don't actually end up getting the haste status effect unfortunately, but that's not really what we run Devour Hope for. Now the interesting ones are where you get to 3 and 5 tokens. When you get to 3 tokens for Devour Hope, survivors will suffer from the exposed status effect. Every single survivor on the map will be one shot no matter what, unless of course they have Bar Time, or they have Soul Guard, or other perks that give them the endurance status effect. They will go down immediately whenever you hit them, as long as it's a basic attack. As long as it's with a basic attack. I'm not sure I said that correctly. And at 5 tokens, this is the really fun one. Whenever you down somebody, you can Mori them right away. You don't have to worry about hooking them beforehand. You don't have to worry about them being your obsession, being the last person alive in the lobby, like any other condition that you need to Mori people. If you're at 5 tokens and you have Devour Hope, your Devour Hope totem isn't broken yet, then you can just right away down somebody and Mori them on the ground, and it's just so much fun to use whenever it works out. So, out of all these perks, I would probably get Devour Hope, if nothing else, and for the fun factor, but the other 3, not worth it at all. Anyways, guys, I'll see you next week for another weekly Shrine update.